Hello there and welcome to the Dreamy Ocean Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you've had a long day, or maybe you're the kind of person who likes to fall asleep thinking about the deep ocean and its gentle giants rather than counting sheep. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. You've got nothing to do now but rest. Let your breath slow your thoughts soften and your body grow light as if you're floating weightlessly in calm, dark water. Because tonight, we're drifting into the world of the blue whale, the largest animal to ever exist on this planet. Larger than any dinosaur that ever walked the earth. Larger than any creature that has ever swum through ancient seas. A living marvel that moves through our oceans right now in this very moment, somewhere beneath the waves. The blue whale is not just big, it is beyond comprehension. Its heart weighs as much as a small car. Its tongue weighs as much as an elephant. A human could swim through its largest blood vessels, and yet, despite its enormous size, it feeds on some of the tiniest creatures in the ocean, filtering tons of shrimp-like animals called krill through curtains of baleen that hang like fringed silk inside its mouth. These whales sing songs that can travel across entire ocean basins, calling to one another through thousands of miles of dark water. They migrate farther than almost any other mammal, traveling from icy polar feeding grounds to warm tropical waters, where they give birth to calves the size of school buses. They dive to depths where sunlight never reaches and rise to the surface to breathe air just like you and me, exhaling a plume so powerful it can be seen from miles away. Tonight, we'll explore the quiet mysteries and astonishing facts about blue whales. From their ancient ancestors who once walked on four legs along riverbanks more than 50 million years ago, to the fragile populations that swim our seas today, still recovering from centuries of relentless hunting. We'll discover how they communicate in frequencies so low that humans cannot hear them without special equipment, how a newborn calf can gain 200 pounds every single day, and why scientists still don't fully understand where blue whales go to give birth, or how they navigate across featureless oceans with such precision. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you. Other facts might simply drift by like plankton on a gentle current, soothing, curious, and quietly unforgettable. If these peaceful explorations bring you calm or spark your curiosity, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, let yourself get comfortable. Take a deep breath. Let the weight of the day fall away. And let's begin this slow, soothing journey into the blue, into the deep, into the world of the largest living being that has ever graced this earth. The blue whale belongs to a family of whales called rorquals, characterized by long, pleated throats that expand like enormous accordion bellows when they feed. Their scientific name, Balanoptera musculus, comes from Latin and Greek roots, meaning muscular winged whale. Though they have no wings, their long pectoral fins sweep through the water like the wings of some vast, slow-moving bird flying through liquid space. There are several recognized populations of blue whales, scattered across the world's oceans, each with subtle differences. Antarctic blue whales are the largest, with females averaging over 26 meters in length. Northern Hemisphere populations tend to be slightly smaller, and there is even a smaller subspecies called the pygmy blue whale that lives in the Indian Ocean and reaches about 21 meters. Despite these variations, every blue whale shares the same elegant form. A long, streamlined body mottled with grey-blue patterns that look like shifting clouds underwater, a tiny dorsal fin set far back near the tail, and a massive head that makes up about 1/4 of its total body length. When a blue whale surfaces, it does not leap or splash. It rises slowly, deliberately, like a small island emerging from the depths. First comes the blowhole, a paired opening on top of the head. Then the whale exhales, and a column of mist and vapor erupts upwards, sometimes reaching 30 feet into the air. This blow is the whale's signature, visible from miles away on a calm day. The sound carries too. A deep, resonant whoosh that echoes across the water like the breath of the ocean itself. The blue whale's skin is smooth, but not flawless. Up close, you would see patches of lighter grey and white, especially on the belly. You might notice clusters of barnacles near the flippers or tail hitchhikers that have attached themselves for a free ride across the ocean. You would see scars too. Long white lines that mark healed wounds from encounters with ships' fishing gear, or perhaps the teeth of orcas that sometimes attack young or weakened individuals. But more than anything, you would be struck by the sheer enormity. A blue whale is not just large, it exists on a scale that defies human intuition. To stand beside one is to feel small in a way that is both humbling and strangely comforting. Because in the presence of something so vast, so ancient, and so utterly beyond human construction, you are reminded that the world is full of wonders far greater than ourselves. And yet, despite their size, blue whales are gentle. They do not hunt with teeth or aggression. They do not attack. They simply open their mouths and let the ocean flow in filtering life from water, existing in a rhythm as old as the tides. They are proof that the largest does not need to be the fiercest, that power can be quiet, that giants can move through the world with grace. As we drift deeper into their story tonight, let yourself relax. Let your mind wander through cold polar seas and sun-warmed tropical lagoons. Let the facts wash over you like waves, and know that somewhere right now, beneath moonlit water or beneath the blazing sun, a blue whale is singing. A blue whale is feeding. A blue whale is rising to breathe. And in that breath, in that song, in that slow and ancient movement through the deep, there is a kind of peace. A reminder that life at its largest and most patient simply continues, steady and eternal, like the turning of the earth itself. Ancient origins and evolution. Long before blue whales swam through the ocean, their ancestors lived on land. This may seem impossible when you consider a creature that can weigh 200 tons and stretch longer than a basketball court. But the story of how whales came to be is one of the most remarkable evolutionary journeys ever documented. A journey that took tens of millions of years and transformed four-legged fur-covered mammals into the streamlined ocean giants we know today. The story begins more than 50 million years ago, during a period called the Eocene epoch, when the Earth was warmer than it is now, and shallow seas covered much of what would become modern continents. In the regions that are now Pakistan and India, along the shores of an ancient ocean called the Tethys Sea, small mammals lived near rivers and coastlines, hunting fish and wading through shallow water. One of the earliest known ancestors of whales was a creature called Pachycetus. About the size of a large dog or small wolf, Pachycetus had 4 legs, hooves, and a long skull with sharp teeth designed for catching fish. It likely had fur and spent much of its time on land, though it was clearly comfortable in water. Its ears, however, had a unique structure, a thickened auditory bulla, a bony feature that would later become essential for hearing underwater. This ear structure links Pachycetus directly to modern whales, even though outwardly it resembled no whale at all. Scientists discovered the first Pachycetus fossils in 1978, and when they studied the bones, they found something astonishing. Pachycetus belonged to a group of hoofed mammals called artiodactyls, which includes modern deer pigs and hippopotamuses. This means that whales, despite living in the ocean, are more closely related to hippos than they are to fish or any other marine animal. Evolution did not create whales from scratch. It took creatures that already existed on land and slowly, over countless generations, reshaped them for life in the sea. As millions of years passed, the descendants of Pachycetus began spending more time in the water. Fossils from this period show gradual changes. Legs became shorter and stronger, better suited for paddling than walking. Tails grew longer and more muscular, developing horizontal flukes that could push the animal through water with powerful up and down strokes, different from the side-to-side tail movements of fish. One of the most stunning transitional fossils is Ambulocetus, which means walking whale that swims. Discovered in Pakistan in sediments dating back about 49 million years, Ambulocetus looked like a massive crocodile-like creature with webbed feet and a long, flexible spine. It could still walk on land, though clumsily, using a waddling motion similar to modern sea lions. But in water, it was graceful and powerful, propelling itself with strong kicks from its hind legs and undulating movements of its body. Ambulocetus likely hunted in shallow coastal waters and river deltas, ambushing fish and other prey. Its eyes were set high on its skull, allowing it to see above the waterline while the rest of its body remained submerged, much like a crocodile. Its nostrils were still near the tip of its snout, not yet moved to the top of the head, as they are in modern whales. As evolution continued, the descendants of Ambulocetus became increasingly adapted to life in the ocean. Fossils showed that nostrils gradually migrated upward, eventually forming blowholes positioned on top of the head for easier breathing at the surface. Front limbs transformed into flippers, losing individual fingers and becoming stiff, paddle-like structures used for steering rather than grasping. Hind limbs shrank and eventually disappeared entirely from external view, though tiny vestigial bones remain buried deep within the muscles of modern whales, hidden reminders of legs that once walked on ancient shores. By about 40 million years ago, fully aquatic whales had evolved. Creatures like Basilosaurus, which grew up to 18 meters long, had serpentine bodies and tiny useless hind limbs that dangled from their hips like evolutionary leftovers. These whales no longer came onto land. They gave birth in the water, nursed their young in the water, and spent their entire lives submerged, surfacing only to breathe. But even these early whales were not yet the giants we know today. For most of their evolutionary history, whales remained relatively modest in size, no larger than modern orcas or dolphins. The transformation into true giants, into blue whales, and fin whales and humpbacks happened much more recently. Scientists believe that baleen whales, the filter-feeding giants, only evolved their enormous size within the last 5 million years. This late gigantism was likely driven by changes in ocean currents and climate. As the Earth cooled and polar ice caps formed nutrient-rich waters, began circulating more vigorously, creating vast blooms of krill and other small organisms in polar regions. Whales that could consume these huge quantities of tiny prey had an advantage. And the larger a whale's mouth, the more water it could filter, the more food it could gather in a single gulp. Natural selection favored size. And over millions of years, blue whales became the largest animals to ever exist, surpassing even the largest dinosaurs. They did not become big because they were fierce predators. They became big because they learned to feed on the smallest things. By filtering the ocean itself, they unlocked an almost limitless source of energy, allowing them to grow beyond any size that had come before. And yet hidden within their massive bodies, traces of their terrestrial past remain. Blue whales have tiny pelvic bones embedded in their muscles, remnants of hips that once supported hind legs. They have finger bones inside their flippers, arranged in the same pattern as the bones in your own hand. And in their embryonic development, whale fetuses briefly develop hind limb buds that disappear before birth, a ghostly echo of legs that evolution set aside long ago. These anatomical remnants are not mistakes. They are evidence. Proof that whales were not always creatures of the sea. Proof that they walked, waded, and swam through shallow rivers before they conquered the open ocean. Proof that life is not fixed, but fluid. That given enough time, enough pressure, enough generations, a wolf-sized mammal hunting along a riverbank can become a 200-ton giant drifting through polar seas, singing songs that travel farther than any living voice has ever reached. Tonight, as you rest, consider that transformation. 50 million years of gradual change, legs becoming flippers, nostrils becoming blowholes, fur becoming blubber. A land animal returning to the sea not as a fish, but as something entirely new. A mammal that breathes air but cannot survive on land. A creature that embodies both what was and what became. The blue whale is not just an animal. It is a living record of deep time, a monument to evolution's patient hand. And every time a blue whale rises to the surface, exhales a towering plume of mist, and slips back beneath the waves, it carries with it the memory of ancestors who once stood on solid ground and looked out across an ocean they would one day call home. Anatomy and physical marvels. To truly understand the blue whale, you must first try to grasp its size. And this is not easy, because the blue whale does not fit comfortably into human scales of reference. It is not twice as large as something familiar, or even 10 times as large. It exists in a category of enormity that the mind struggles to hold. An adult blue whale can reach lengths of nearly 30 meters, about 100 feet from the tip of its rostrum to the notch in its tail. That is longer than 3 full-size school buses parked end to end. It is roughly the length of a Boeing 737 airplane. If a blue whale could stand upright, it would be taller than an 8-story building. But length is only part of the picture, because a blue whale is not thin or narrow. It is massive in every dimension. A blue whale can weigh up to 200 tons or 400,000 pounds. That is more than 30 adult African elephants, more than 2,000 adult humans, more than any animal that has ever lived, including the largest dinosaurs whose fossilized bones we have discovered. The blue whale is the largest animal known to have ever existed on Earth. Not the largest whale, not the largest mammal, the largest animal, period. And it is alive right now, swimming through our oceans, sharing the same planet, the same time as you and me. Let that sink in for a moment. The biggest thing that has ever lived is not a creature from the distant past. It is here, now, moving quietly through the blue. And when you look closely at the anatomy of a blue whale, you begin to see how such a size is even possible. Because every part of its body is built on a scale that defies belief. The heart of a blue whale weighs approximately 400 pounds, roughly the size of a small golf cart. It is the largest heart of any animal, a 4-chambered organ that pumps blood through a circulatory system spanning the entire length of the whale's enormous body. When the whale is resting near the surface, its heart beats about 25 to 37 times per minute, a relatively slow rhythm for such an active animal. But when it dives deep and holds its breath, the heart rate can drop even further, sometimes as low as 2 beats per minute, conserving oxygen and energy in the cold, dark depths. The whale's aorta, the main artery that carries blood from the heart, is about 9 inches in diameter. A small child could theoretically crawl through it, though of course no one ever would or should. The entire cardiovascular system is designed to move massive volumes of blood, efficiently delivering oxygen to muscles that must power a body weighing as much as a loaded freight train. The tongue of a blue whale weighs around 3 tons, as much as a full-grown elephant. It is not a thin, flexible tongue like ours, but a thick, muscular organ that fills the floor of the whale's mouth and helps manipulate water during feeding. When the whale opens its mouth and takes in a huge gulp of krill-filled seawater, the tongue pushes forward and helps expel the water back out through the baleen, leaving the food behind. The lungs of a blue whale can hold about 5,000 liters of air, and the whale can exchange up to 90% of the air in its lungs, with each breath far more efficient than humans, who only replace about 15%. This high oxygen exchange rate is one reason whales can hold their breath for so long. A blue whale can stay underwater for 10 to 20 minutes during normal dives, and in rare cases even longer, though most dives are shorter and shallower. When a blue whale surfaces and exhales, the blow can reach heights of 30 feet or more, a towering column of warm, moist air mixed with mucus and seawater vapor. The sound of this exhalation is deep and resonant, audible from miles away on a quiet day. Then the whale inhales, drawing in thousands of liters of fresh air in just a few seconds before sealing its blowholes and slipping back beneath the surface. Beneath the whale's smooth skin lies a thick layer of blubber, sometimes more than a foot thick. This blubber serves multiple purposes. It insulates the whale against frigid water temperatures, particularly in polar regions, where the ocean can be just a few degrees above freezing. It also stores energy, acting like a massive fuel reserve that the whale can draw upon during long migrations when it eats little or nothing for months at a time. The skin itself is usually a mottled blue-grey color, though the exact shade varies depending on lighting and the angle of view. Underwater, a blue whale often looks more grey than blue, with lighter patches on the belly, and sometimes a yellowish or greenish tint, caused by diatoms, tiny algae that attach themselves to the whale's skin in cold waters. These diatoms are harmless passengers, and their presence has given rise to one of the blue whale's nicknames, sulfur bottom, referring to the yellowish hue they create. The skeleton of a blue whale is both massive and surprisingly delicate. The bones must be strong enough to support the whale's enormous muscles, but they do not bear the same crushing weight that land animals' skeletons do, because the whale's body is supported by the buoyancy of water. The skull alone can weigh several tons and measures about 1/4 of the whale's total body length. It is long and broad, forming a U-shaped structure that houses the baleen plates and gives the whale's head its distinctive flat, almost streamlined appearance when viewed from above. Inside the mouth, hanging from the upper jaw, are rows of baleen plates made of keratin, the same protein that forms human hair and fingernails. A blue whale has between 270 and 395 baleen plates on each side of its mouth, forming a curtain of fringed bristle-like material. These plates can be up to 1 meter long and are black or dark grey in color. They act like a massive sieve, allowing the whale to filter enormous volumes of water while trapping the tiny krill inside. The blue whale's throat is another marvel of anatomy. Unlike most mammals, which have a rigid throat, the blue whale has a pleated throat covered in 55 to 88 ventral grooves, long folds of skin that run from the chin to the navel. When the whale feeds, these grooves expand dramatically, allowing the throat to balloon outward and hold tens of thousands of liters of water in a single gulp. This expansion is so extreme that the whale's body shape changes entirely during feeding, transforming from a sleek, streamlined form into a distended, bulging mass before the water is pushed back out through the baleen. The flippers of a blue whale are long and paddle-shaped, typically about 12% of the whale's body length, which means they can be 3 to 4 meters long. Inside each flipper are the same bones you would find in a human arm, and hand a humerus radius and ulnar wrist bones, and even 5 sets of finger bones, though they are flattened, elongated, and fused together to form a single, rigid structure. The whale uses these flippers primarily for steering and stabilization, making subtle adjustments to maintain its course or turn in the water. The tail flukes, which can span up to 8 meters from tip to tip, are the whale's primary means of propulsion. Unlike fish, which move their tails side to side, whales move their flukes up and down, powered by enormous muscles along the spine. Each stroke of the tail drives the whale forward with tremendous force, allowing it to reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour in short bursts, though it usually cruises at a much more leisurely pace of 5 to 8 kilometers per hour. The dorsal fin, located far back on the whale's body, is small and variable in shape, sometimes little more than a low ridge. It provides some stability, but plays a relatively minor role compared to the flippers and tail. Its small size is characteristic of rorqual whales and helps distinguish blue whales from other species. Every part of a blue whale's body is shaped by the demands of living at such an enormous scale. Its blood vessels must be wide enough to carry massive volumes of blood without creating too much resistance. Its muscles must generate incredible power while remaining flexible enough for the whale to bend and twist through the water. Its sensory organs must function in an environment where sight is limited, sound travels hundreds of miles, and the pressure can crush unprotected human lungs. And yet, despite all this power and size, the blue whale is not a clumsy brute. It is graceful. It moves through the water with a fluid, almost balletic motion, each movement deliberate and efficient. When it dives, it arches its back smoothly, lifting its tail flukes high into the air, in a motion so iconic it has become the symbol of whales everywhere. When it surfaces, it rises gently, breaking the water with barely a ripple. To watch a blue whale is to witness elegance at an unimaginable scale. To see something so large move with such ease is to understand that the ocean is not just water. It is a medium that allows for forms and movements impossible on land. It is a place where gravity loosens its grip, where the largest can glide as effortlessly as the smallest, where a creature the size of a building can float, turn and dive with the grace of a bird in flight. As you drift towards sleep tonight, imagine that size. Imagine a heart beating slow and steady, pumping blood through arteries wide enough to swim through. Imagine lungs filling with thousands of liters of air. Imagine a tongue that weighs as much as an elephant, a tail that could span the width of a city street. A body so vast that smaller fish swim through the shadow it casts in the sunlit shallows. Imagine all of that moving, breathing, living right now, somewhere in the dark and quiet sea. And know that in all of Earth's history, in all the eons that have passed, in all the creatures that have crawled, flown, swum, or walked across this planet, nothing has ever been larger. Life cycle and growth. The life of a blue whale begins in warm tropical waters, far from the cold polar seas, where adult whales spend most of their time feeding. Though scientists have never directly witnessed a blue whale giving birth, they believe it happens during the winter months, likely in shallow protected areas where the water is warmer and calmer, offering some safety for the newborn calf. A blue whale calf is enormous from the moment it enters the world. At birth, it measures about 7 to 8 meters long, roughly 23 to 26 feet, and weighs between 2,500 and 3,000 kilograms, about 6,000 to 8,000 pounds. To put this in perspective, a newborn blue whale calf is already longer and heavier than most adult elephants. It is by far the largest baby born to any animal on Earth. The calf is born tail first, a position that reduces the risk of drowning during the birth process. As soon as it emerges, the mother, or sometimes another nearby whale, gently nudges the calf to the surface so it can take its first breath. This breath is critical. The calf must fill its lungs with air, immediately learning in its first moments of life the rhythm that will sustain it for decades to come. Rise, breathe, dive. For the first few months, the calf stays very close to its mother, rarely straying more than a few body lengths away. The bond between mother and calf is strong and tender. The mother is constantly attentive, guiding the calf to the surface, protecting it from potential predators like orcas or large sharks, and nursing it with some of the richest milk in the animal kingdom. Blue whale milk is extraordinary. It contains nearly 50% fat compared to about 4% in human milk, and about 3 to 5% in cow's milk. This incredibly high fat content is essential because the calf must grow rapidly, building up thick layers of blubber to insulate itself against the cold waters it will soon encounter when the mother begins her migration back toward polar feeding grounds. The milk is so thick it has a consistency more like toothpaste than liquid. When the calf nurses, the mother contracts muscles around her mammary glands, actively squirting the milk into the calf's mouth rather than letting it suckle passively. This ensures the milk does not disperse into the surrounding seawater. The calf drinks approximately 190 to 200 liters of milk every day, around 50 gallons, consuming more milk in a single day than most adult humans drink in an entire year. This incredible diet fuels astonishing growth. A blue whale calf gains weight at a rate almost unmatched in the animal kingdom. On average, it puts on about 90 kilograms or 200 pounds every single day. Every 24 hours, the calf becomes as heavy as an adult human. Within just 6 months, it will have doubled its birth weight, reaching lengths of 13 to 16 meters and weighing 20 tons or more. During this nursing period, the mother eats very little, if at all. She has spent the summer months in cold, nutrient-rich waters, consuming enormous quantities of krill and building up thick layers of blubber. Now, during the winter breeding and nursing season, she lives off those reserves, slowly burning through the fat she stored during the feeding season. By the time she weans her calf and begins the migration back to polar waters, she may have lost 30% or more of her body weight, a staggering sacrifice in service of her offspring. Weaning typically occurs when the calf is around 6 to 7 months old and measures about 16 meters in length. At this point, the mother and calf begin the long journey back to cold, productive feeding grounds in polar or subpolar waters. The calf must now learn to feed on its own, developing the skills needed to locate dense swarms of krill, open its mouth, expand its throat, and filter the tiny crustaceans from the sea. This is a critical period. The calf is no longer sustained by its mother's milk, but it has not yet mastered the art of feeding efficiently. It must learn through observation and practice, watching its mother and perhaps other whales, gradually refining the complex behaviors involved in lunge feeding. Some calves may struggle during this transition. Others adapt quickly. But all must learn, because without the ability to feed, they will not survive. Blue whales grow quickly during their first years of life, though the growth rate slows as they age. By the time a young whale reaches about 5 years old, it may measure 20 to 23 meters in length and weigh 50 to 70 tons. Sexual maturity is typically reached between 5 and 15 years of age, with females generally maturing slightly later than males. At this point, the whale is nearly full-grown, though it may continue to add length and weight slowly for several more years. The lifespan of a blue whale is difficult to measure with precision because the animals are not easily observed throughout their entire lives. However, scientists have developed methods to estimate age by examining layers of earwax that accumulate in the whale's ear canal. Each year, a light and dark layer forms similar to growth rings in a tree, and by counting these layers, researchers can estimate the whale's age. Using this method, scientists have determined that blue whales can live 80 to 90 years or more. The oldest blue whale on record was estimated to be about 110 years old, though this is exceptional. Most blue whales likely live between 70 and 90 years, a lifespan that allows them to experience many decades of seasonal migrations, countless deep dives, and the births of multiple generations of calves. Female blue whales do not give birth every year. The reproductive cycle is slow, with females typically producing a single calf every 2 to 3 years. After weaning one calf, the female must rebuild her energy reserves, regain lost weight, and prepare her body for the demands of another pregnancy. Gestation lasts approximately 10 to 12 months, meaning that a female who successfully mates during one winter breeding season will give birth the following winter. This slow reproductive rate makes blue whale populations vulnerable to decline. Unlike animals that produce many offspring, quickly blue whales cannot rapidly recover from population losses. Each female produces only a limited number of calves over her lifetime, perhaps 10 to 15, if she lives a long and healthy life. And not all calves survive to adulthood. Predation, disease, entanglement in fishing gear, and ship strikes all take a toll, particularly on young whales. Despite these challenges, blue whale calves that survive their first years of life have a strong chance of reaching adulthood and reproducing. The maternal investment is enormous, the risks are real, but the result, when successful, is a fully grown blue whale, a creature that will roam the oceans for decades, shaping the ecosystem through its feeding, its migrations, and its presence. As you rest tonight, think of a newborn blue whale calf, 8 meters long, floating beside its mother in warm, tropical waters. Imagine it taking its first breath, filling its small lungs with air, learning in that instant the pattern that will define its life. Rise, breathe, dive. Rise, breathe, dive. A rhythm as steady as a heartbeat, as constant as the tides. Think of it nursing, drinking 50 gallons of rich fatty milk each day, growing so fast you could almost watch it happen. Gaining the weight of an adult human every 24 hours. Doubling in size in half a year. A miracle of growth powered by a mother's sacrifice and the ocean's abundance. And think of it years later, fully grown, swimming alongside its own calf, passing down the knowledge of migration routes, feeding grounds, and the ancient songs that echo through the blue. Generation after generation, mother and calf, an unbroken chain, stretching back millions of years, continuing still even now beneath the moonlit waves. Feeding mechanisms and diet. For all their immense size, blue whales feed on some of the smallest animals in the ocean. Their primary food source is krill, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans that are usually only about 1 to 2 centimeters long, roughly half an inch. These small creatures drift through the water in enormous swarms, sometimes numbering in the millions, creating dense clouds of life that turn the ocean reddish or pink when viewed from above. Krill are found throughout the world's oceans, but they are most abundant in cold, nutrient-rich waters near the poles, particularly in the southern ocean surrounding Antarctica. Here, during the summer months, massive blooms of phytoplankton, microscopic plant-like organisms, provide food for krill, which in turn become food for blue whales and many other animals, including seals, penguins, and fish. A single blue whale can consume an astonishing amount of krill. For many years, scientists estimated that blue whales ate about 2 to 4 tons of krill per day during the feeding season. But recent research using sophisticated tracking tags and drones has revealed that the true number is far higher. A 2021 study published by researchers at Stanford University found that blue whales can consume up to 16 tons of krill in a single day, about 3 times more than previous estimates. 16 tons. That is 32,000 pounds, more than the weight of 2 full-grown African elephants, eaten in one day. To consume this much food, the whale must feed almost constantly during the summer months, taking advantage of the short but incredibly productive feeding season in polar waters. And the way it feeds is one of the most spectacular behaviors in the animal kingdom. Blue whales are filter feeders, which means they do not chase down individual prey or bite chunks out of larger animals. Instead, they swim through dense swarms of krill with their mouths open, taking in enormous gulps of water, filled with thousands upon thousands of tiny crustaceans. This feeding method is called lunge feeding, and it is a behavior that requires both power and precision. When a blue whale locates a dense concentration of krill, often at depths between 100 and 500 meters, it accelerates toward the swarm. The whale's body, which usually glides through the water with minimal effort, suddenly surges forward, building speed. Then, at the right moment, the whale opens its massive jaws to an angle of nearly 90 degrees, creating an enormous cavity into which seawater rushes. As the whale's mouth fills, the pleated grooves along its throat expand dramatically, stretching outward like an accordion. The whale's body, sleek and streamlined just moments before, becomes distended and bulbous, swollen with seawater. In a single lunge, a blue whale can engulf up to 10,000 liters of water, or about 2,600 gallons, along with everything suspended in it. This action is incredibly energy-intensive. The whale must overcome immense drag as its expanded throat pushes through the water, and it must do so while holding its breath. But the reward, if the krill swarm is dense enough, is worth the effort. Once the whale's mouth is full, it closes its jaws and begins the process of filtering. The tongue, which weighs about 3 tons, pushes forward, forcing the water out through the baleen plates that line the upper jaw. The baleen acts like a massive sieve, allowing water to pass through while trapping the krill inside. The bristle-like fringes on the baleen catch even the smallest krill, ensuring that very little food escapes. When all the water has been expelled, the whale swallows the krill in a single, enormous gulp. Then it surfaces to breathe, replenishing its oxygen supply before diving again to repeat the process. During peak feeding times, a blue whale may lunge 60 to 70 times per day, each lunge bringing in thousands of krill each gulp, adding to the tons of food the whale needs to fuel its massive body. This feeding strategy is made possible by the whale's unique anatomy. The baleen plates, which can number nearly 800 in total, 270 to 395 on each side, are perfectly suited for filtering small prey from large volumes of water. The pleated throat grooves, which allow the mouth to expand to such an extreme degree, are found only in rorqual whales. The family that includes blue whales, fin whales, humpbacks, and several other species. Interestingly, blue whales are highly selective about when and where they feed. They do not simply swim through the ocean with their mouths open, hoping to encounter food. Instead, they actively search for the densest concentrations of krill, often diving to specific depths where krill tend to congregate during the day. Scientists believe whales may use a combination of memory, environmental cues, and possibly even echolocation-like techniques to locate these swarms, though the exact mechanisms are still not fully understood. The feeding season for blue whales is relatively short, lasting only a few months during the polar summer, when sunlight and nutrients create ideal conditions for plankton and krill blooms. During this time, the whale eats voraciously, consuming far more food than it needs for immediate energy. The excess is converted into thick layers of blubber, which serve as an energy reserve for the rest of the year. After the feeding season ends and the polar waters begin to cool and darken, blue whales migrate toward warmer tropical waters where they breed and give birth. During this migration and throughout the winter months, they eat very little, if anything at all. For 6 months or more, they live off the blubber they accumulated during the summer, slowly burning through their fat reserves. This feast or famine lifestyle is common among migratory baleen whales, but it is particularly extreme in blue whales because of their enormous size. A blue whale that has fed successfully during the summer may carry 30 to 40 tons of blubber, enough stored energy to sustain it through months of fasting. A whale that has not fed adequately, however, may struggle to survive the migration and could arrive at the breeding grounds too weak to reproduce or care for a calf. The relationship between blue whales and krill is not one-sided. In fact, whales play a crucial role in maintaining healthy krill populations through a process scientists call the whale pump. When whales feed on krill at depth and then return to the surface to breathe and defecate, they release nutrient-rich waste into the sunlit upper layers of the ocean. This waste, particularly the iron and nitrogen it contains, fertilizes phytoplankton, the microscopic plants that form the base of the ocean food web. More phytoplankton means more food for krill. More krill means more food for whales. It is a cycle, a feedback loop, and the presence of whales actually increases the productivity of the ecosystem. Before commercial whaling devastated blue whale populations, the oceans were likely more productive, more vibrant, and more abundant because of the fertilizing effect of whale waste. Some scientists believe that restoring blue whale populations could help combat climate change by increasing the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed by phytoplankton. When phytoplankton grow, they pull carbon from the atmosphere and incorporate it into their bodies. When they die, some of that carbon sinks to the ocean floor, sequestering it for centuries or longer. Whales, by fertilizing these tiny plants, may indirectly help remove carbon from the air and store it in the deep sea. As you drift towards sleep, imagine a blue whale gliding through dark, cold water, scanning for the faint shimmer of a krill swarm. Imagine the moment it accelerates, jaws opening wide, throat expanding, water rushing in. Imagine the filtering, the swallowing, the surfacing, the breath. 60 times a day, 70 times a day. Tons of tiny lives becoming fuel for the largest life. Imagine the balance of it. The whale feeding the krill by feeding the plankton. The ocean sustaining the whale sustaining the ocean. A perfect ancient loop, turning slowly through the blue. Migration and navigation. Blue whales are among the most traveled animals on Earth. Every year they undertake migrations that span thousands of miles, moving between polar feeding grounds in the summer and warmer tropical or subtropical waters in the winter. These journeys are driven by the seasonal availability of food and the need to find suitable conditions for giving birth. In the Northern Hemisphere, blue whales that feed in the waters off Alaska, British Columbia, and California during the summer months migrate southward as winter approaches, traveling toward the coasts of Mexico, Central America, and even the waters around Costa Rica. Some may travel more than 5,000 miles in a single direction, covering the distance over the course of several weeks. In the Southern Hemisphere, blue whales that feed in the nutrient-rich waters surrounding Antarctica during the austral summer migrate northward during the winter months, heading toward warmer waters off the coasts of South America, Africa, and Australia. The exact routes and destinations vary depending on the population, and scientists are still working to map the full extent of these migration patterns. What is remarkable about these migrations is not just the distance, but the precision. Blue whales return to the same feeding areas year after year, often arriving within a few weeks of the same date. They do not wander randomly. They follow specific routes, and they appear to know exactly where they are going, even when traveling across vast stretches of open ocean with no visible landmarks. How do they navigate? This is one of the great mysteries of whale biology. Researchers have proposed several mechanisms, and the truth likely involves a combination of methods. One possibility is that blue whales use the Earth's magnetic field to orient themselves much like migratory birds. The ocean floor is crisscrossed with magnetic anomalies, subtle variations in the strength and direction of the magnetic field, caused by differences in the underlying geology. Whales may be able to sense these variations and use them as a kind of map, following magnetic pathways that guide them from one location to another. There is some evidence to support this idea. Studies have shown that whale strandings events where whales swim onto beaches and become trapped are more common in areas where magnetic anomalies create confusing signals. It is possible that whales sometimes become disoriented when their magnetic sense leads them astray, though strandings can also be caused by illness, injury, or pursuit by predators. Another possibility is that blue whales use sound to navigate. The ocean is not silent. It is filled with noises, the rumble of underwater earthquakes, the crackle of snapping shrimp, the songs of other whales. Some of these sounds, particularly low-frequency noises, can travel for hundreds or even thousands of miles through the deep ocean. Whales may listen to these sounds and use them to orient themselves, creating a mental map based on the acoustic landscape of the sea. Blue whales themselves produce low-frequency calls that can travel enormous distances, and it is possible they use echoes of their own calls to sense the shape of the ocean floor, the presence of underwater mountains or canyons, and the proximity of coastlines. This would be a form of echolocation, though much larger in scale than the high-frequency echolocation used by toothed whales, like dolphins and sperm whales. Memory almost certainly plays a role as well. Blue whales have large, complex brains, and there is evidence that they learn migration routes from their mothers and other members of their group. A young whale making its first migration does not travel alone. It follows experienced adults learning the route through observation and repetition. Over the course of many years, it builds a mental map, a memory of landmarks, currents, temperatures, and seasonal patterns that guide it back to the same places year after year. Some researchers believe that blue whales may also use ocean currents to aid their migration, swimming with favorable currents to conserve energy and timing their movements to coincide with seasonal shifts in water flow. The ocean is not static. Currents change with the seasons, driven by winds, temperature differences, and the rotation of the Earth. Whales that can predict and exploit these changes may be able to travel farther and faster with less effort. The migration itself is not a continuous non-stop journey. Blue whales do not swim in a straight line from point A to point B. Instead, they move in stages, sometimes pausing for days or weeks in productive areas where food is available, particularly during the early part of the migration when they are still building up energy reserves. As they get closer to the breeding grounds, however, feeding becomes less common, and the whales may fast entirely for months. During the northward or southward migration, blue whales typically swim at a leisurely pace, covering 50 to 100 kilometers per day, though they are capable of much faster speeds if needed. The journey is long and slow, a steady progression through changing waters from the cold, food-rich seas of the poles to the warm, clear waters of the tropics. Once they reach the breeding grounds, the whales do not gather in large groups. Blue whales are generally solitary animals, and even during the breeding season, they are more often seen alone or in pairs than in pods. Mating occurs in these warm waters, though the specifics of blue whale courtship and mating are poorly understood because these behaviors occur in deep offshore areas, where direct observation is difficult. What scientists do know is that blue whale calves are almost never seen in the wild. Despite decades of research and thousands of whale sightings, confirmed observations of newborn blue whale calves are extremely rare. Only a handful of sightings have been recorded, and the locations of specific calving grounds remain largely unknown. This is one of the most puzzling mysteries in marine biology. Where do blue whales go to give birth? The assumption is that calving occurs in warm, shallow, protected waters. But if this is true, those waters have not yet been identified with certainty. Some researchers speculate that blue whales may give birth in remote, offshore areas far from human observation, or that they use areas that are difficult to access or survey. After the calves are born and weaned, the whales begin the return journey to the feeding grounds, timed to arrive just as the polar summer brings an explosion of phytoplankton and krill. The cycle repeats year after year, generation after generation, an ancient rhythm tied to the turning of the seasons, the lengthening and shortening of days, the freezing and thawing of polar ice. As you rest tonight, imagine a blue whale moving through dark water, following a path it has traveled many times before. Imagine it sensing the magnetic pull of the earth, listening to the distant rumble of underwater mountains, remembering the taste of cold, krill-rich water and the warmth of tropical seas. Imagine the journey, thousands of miles across open ocean. No maps, no compass. Just instinct memory and the pull of something ancient and unspoken. A knowledge written into the bones, the brain, the blood. A memory older than language, older than thought, guiding the whale home. Communication and vocalizations. Blue whales do not communicate with words, but they speak nonetheless. They speak in songs that ripple through the ocean, low and haunting and impossibly loud. Songs that travel farther than any voice in the animal kingdom. Songs that cross entire ocean basins, carrying messages through thousands of miles of dark water. A blue whale's call is one of the loudest sounds produced by any animal on Earth. When a whale sings, it can generate pulses that reach up to 188 decibels, louder than a jet engine at takeoff, louder than a rock concert amplified to painful levels. But these sounds are not sharp or piercing. They are deep, profoundly deep, so low in frequency that most humans cannot hear them without special equipment. Blue whale vocalizations range from about 10 to 40 hertz, well below the lower limit of human hearing, which is around 20 hertz. To us, these sounds would feel more than they would sound a vibration in the chest, a rumble in the bones. But to another blue whale, they are clear and distinct, carrying information across distances we can barely comprehend. In the deep ocean, where conditions are right, low-frequency sounds can travel with very little loss of energy. There is a layer of water called the deep sound channel, also known as the SOFAR channel, where sound waves become trapped and can propagate for hundreds or even thousands of miles. Blue whales appear to use this channel, intentionally vocalizing at depths and frequencies that allow their calls to travel the farthest. A blue whale singing off the coast of California might be heard by another blue whale near Alaska, more than 1,000 miles away. A whale in the Southern Ocean might communicate with a whale on the other side of Antarctica. The ocean is vast, but for a blue whale, it is filled with voices near and far, echoing through the blue. What are they saying we do not fully know? Blue whale vocalizations come in several different types, each with its own pattern and possible purpose. Researchers have identified A calls, B calls, C calls, and D calls, each distinguished by its frequency, duration, and structure. B calls are among the most common and are often repeated in long sequences, sometimes for hours. These calls are relatively short, lasting only a few seconds, but they are loud and carry well over long distances. Scientists believe B calls may serve as a kind of contact call, allowing whales to keep track of one another's locations, even when separated by vast distances. A calls and D calls are longer and more variable, and they may serve different functions possibly related to social interactions, territorial signaling, or courtship. Some researchers have suggested that certain calls might be used to announce the presence of food, alerting other whales to a dense swarm of krill, though this remains speculative. One of the most intriguing discoveries about blue whale vocalizations is that they are not static. The frequency of blue whale calls has been steadily decreasing for decades, dropping by about 0.12 to 0.54 hertz per year, depending on the population. This shift was first noticed in the 1960s and has continued ever since, observed in blue whale populations around the world. No one knows why this is happening. Several hypotheses have been proposed. One possibility is that the lower frequencies allow calls to travel even farther, giving whales an advantage in finding mates or coordinating movements. Another possibility is that the change is related to ocean noise. As human activity in the oceans has increased, particularly shipping traffic, the ocean has become noisier, and it is possible that whales are adjusting their calls to avoid interference from low-frequency engine sounds. A third possibility is that the shift is related to population recovery. When blue whale populations were very low during and immediately after the era of commercial whaling, individual whales may have needed to call more loudly to be heard over long distances. As populations have grown, whales may be closer together on average, allowing them to use lower, quieter calls that still reach their intended audience. Whatever the reason, the change is real and measurable, and it suggests that blue whale vocalizations are not fixed by instinct alone. They are flexible, culturally influenced, and capable of change over time. This is a hallmark of complex communication systems and hints at a level of intelligence and social learning that we are only beginning to understand. Blue whales also produce other sounds besides their long-distance calls. They make shorter, quieter vocalizations that may be used for close-range communication, particularly between mothers and calves. These sounds are less well studied because they are harder to detect and record, but they likely play an important role in maintaining the bond between parent and offspring. The songs of blue whales are not random. They follow patterns repeating certain phrases in predictable sequences, much like the verses and choruses of a human song. Some researchers have compared blue whale vocalizations to music, noting the rhythm structure and repetition that characterize their calls. But unlike bird songs, which are often territorial or used to attract mates, the purpose of blue whale songs remains elusive. They are produced by both males and females, though males appear to vocalize more frequently. They are heard throughout the year, not just during the breeding season. And they vary between populations, with whales in different parts of the world producing slightly different calls, almost like regional dialects. This geographic variation suggests that blue whale vocalizations are learned rather than purely instinctive. Young whales may learn the calls of their region by listening to adults, much like young birds learn songs from their parents. Over time, these regional dialects may shift and change, influenced by individual whales, environmental conditions, or contact with other populations. The fact that blue whales communicate over such enormous distances has profound implications for their social structure and behavior. Even though blue whales are rarely seen in large groups, they are not truly alone. They are connected by sound, part of an invisible network that spans the ocean. A whale swimming in solitude may be in constant acoustic contact with others, hearing their calls, responding with calls of its own, coordinating movements, and sharing information in ways we cannot see. This acoustic world is fragile, however. Human-generated noise in the ocean from ships, sonar, seismic surveys, and other sources interferes with whale communication. Studies have shown that in areas with heavy shipping traffic, the effective range of blue whale calls may be reduced by more than 90%, from hundreds of miles down to just a few miles. This acoustic masking can disrupt feeding migration and breeding, making it harder for whales to find one another, locate food, and navigate safely. As you drift into sleep tonight, imagine a blue whale singing in the darkness. Imagine the sound so low you cannot hear it, so powerful it shakes the water. Imagine it traveling outward in all directions, rippling through the deep sound channel, crossing underwater mountains and trenches, carrying a message to a whale 1,000 miles away. Imagine that whale hearing the call, recognizing it, responding. Imagine the conversation slow and patient, unfolding over hours or days. Two voices reaching across the vast and empty blue, connected by nothing but sound. And imagine how quiet the ocean must have been, how full of whale songs before the age of engines and propellers. Imagine the network of voices, stronger and clearer, weaving through every ocean, unbroken, eternal. Behavior and social life. Blue whales are often described as solitary animals, and in many ways this is true. They do not form the tight-knit pods seen in orcas or the large social groups common among humpback whales. Most of the time, a blue whale swims alone or with just one or two companions moving through the ocean in quiet independence. But solitary does not mean isolated. As we have learned, blue whales are connected by sound, communicating across distances that span entire ocean basins. They may travel alone, but they are not out of touch. They know where others are. They listen. They call. And in their own way, they maintain social bonds even when separated by hundreds of miles of open water. When blue whales do come together, it is usually for feeding or breeding. In areas where krill concentrations are particularly dense, several blue whales may feed in the same general area, though even then, they tend to maintain some distance from one another. There is no apparent hierarchy or organized cooperation during feeding. Each whale hunts independently, taking advantage of the same rich patch of food. Mother-calf pairs, however, are a clear exception to the solitary rule. The bond between a mother blue whale and her calf is strong and enduring, lasting for the first 6 to 7 months of the calf's life, and possibly longer. During this time, the mother is constantly attentive, guiding the calf to the surface, to breathe, positioning herself between the calf and any potential threats, and nursing the calf with her rich, fatty milk. The calf, in turn, rarely strays from its mother's side. It learns by watching her, mimicking her movements, her diving patterns, her feeding techniques. This early learning period is critical because much of what a blue whale needs to survive is not purely instinctual. It must learn where to find food, how to navigate migration routes, and how to interpret the complex acoustic environment of the ocean. Some researchers believe that blue whales may have a form of cultural knowledge passed down from mother to calf, much like the way orca populations have distinct hunting techniques and vocal dialects. A mother blue whale may teach her calf the specific migration route used by her population, the locations of reliable feeding grounds, and perhaps even the local vocalizations or call patterns used in that region. This kind of social learning is seen in many intelligent animals, from elephants to primates to cetaceans, and it suggests that blue whales are not simply responding to instinct. They are capable of memory learning and cultural transmission. They carry knowledge not just in their genes, but in their minds. Blue whales are generally peaceful animals. They do not exhibit the aggressive behaviors seen in some other whale species. There are no reports of blue whales attacking other whales, fighting over territory, or engaging in violent confrontations. Even during the breeding season, when males compete for access to females, there is no evidence of physical combat. Any competition appears to be subtle, possibly involving vocal displays or positioning rather than direct aggression. Despite their gentle nature, blue whales are not without threats. Young calves are vulnerable to predation by orcas, which hunt in coordinated packs and can overwhelm even a large calf if they catch it separated from its mother. Adult blue whales are generally too large to be taken down by orcas, though attacks on weakened or injured adults have been documented. The mother's protective behavior is crucial during these early months. She positions herself between the calf and any potential danger, uses her massive body as a shield, and may even vocalize aggressively if orcas approach. In most cases, the presence of the mother is enough to deter an attack. Orcas are intelligent and cautious, and they are unlikely to take unnecessary risks when facing a fully grown blue whale. Beyond the mother-calf bond, blue whales occasionally form temporary associations with other individuals, particularly during migration or in feeding areas. These associations are loose and fluid, with whales coming together for a few hours or days before separating again. There is no evidence of long-term friendships or alliances, though some whales may encounter the same individuals year after year in the same locations, creating a kind of seasonal familiarity. Blue whales are also curious animals. There are numerous accounts of blue whales approaching boats, sometimes swimming alongside for several minutes, observing the vessel and its occupants with what appears to be genuine interest. They do not seem fearful of humans in the way that some animals are, though they are also not particularly trusting. They maintain a cautious distance, watching and assessing before deciding whether to approach or move away. This curiosity extends to other objects in the ocean as well. Blue whales have been observed investigating floating debris, swimming around buoys, and even gently nudging sea lions or other marine animals. These interactions are brief and non-aggressive, suggesting that blue whales have a natural inclination to explore and investigate their environment. One of the most fascinating aspects of blue whale behavior is their ability to remember specific locations over long periods of time. Some blue whales return to the same feeding grounds year after year, arriving within a narrow window of time that suggests they are following an internal calendar as well as environmental cues. They may remember the exact underwater canyon where krill congregate, the specific depth where food is most abundant, and the seasonal patterns that govern the availability of prey. This memory extends across decades. A blue whale that first visited a feeding ground as a young calf may continue returning to that same location for 70 or 80 years, guided by memories formed in its earliest years. This kind of long-term spatial memory is remarkable and points to a sophisticated cognitive ability. Blue whales also appear to have individual personalities, though this is difficult to study in wild populations. Some individuals are bold and inquisitive, approaching boats and unfamiliar objects readily. Others are shy and cautious, keeping their distance and avoiding contact. Some are tolerant of other whales feeding nearby, while others seem to prefer more space and will move away if another whale comes too close. These individual differences suggest that blue whales, like many intelligent animals, are not simply interchangeable members of a species. They are individuals, each with its own temperament, preferences, and learned behaviors shaped by experience. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine a blue whale swimming alone through dark, open water. Imagine the silence around it, broken only by the faint calls of distant whales echoing through the deep. Imagine it remembering a place it visited 30 years ago, a canyon where krill swarm in summer, a route it learned from its mother when it was just a calf. Imagine the patience of that memory, the quiet intelligence behind it, the ability to hold a mental map of an entire ocean to navigate by landmarks no human could see to know without seeing where you are and where you are going. Imagine a mother and calf swimming side by side, the calf learning, the mother teaching. Not with words, but with presence, with motion, with the slow, steady rhythm of life in the blue. And imagine that bond, invisible but unbreakable, stretching back through generations, a thread connecting every blue whale that swims today to every blue whale that has ever swum, mother to calf, across millions of years. Conservation and threats. There was a time not so long ago in geological terms when blue whales were far more numerous than they are today. Before the era of industrial whaling, before steam-powered ships and explosive harpoons, blue whale populations may have numbered in the hundreds of thousands. Some estimates suggest there were as many as 350,000 blue whales in the oceans before large-scale hunting began. But in the 19th and 20th centuries, humans discovered the value of whale oil, which was used to light lamps, lubricate machinery, and manufacture soap, cosmetics, and other products. Whales were hunted relentlessly, and blue whales, being the largest and yielding the most oil, became prime targets. At first, blue whales were relatively safe because they were too fast and too large for the whaling ships of the time to catch. But technological advances changed everything. Steam-powered ships could chase whales for hours without tiring. Harpoons with explosive tips could kill a whale instantly. Inflatable devices could keep dead whales afloat for processing. Suddenly, no whale was beyond reach. The slaughter was staggering. In the 1931 Antarctic whaling season alone, nearly 30,000 blue whales were killed. Year after year, decade after decade, the killing continued. Blue whale populations plummeted. By the mid-20th century, it is estimated that fewer than 10,000 blue whales remained, a decline of more than 99% from pre-whaling numbers. In 1966, the International Whaling Commission finally granted blue whales full protection, banning all commercial hunting of the species. But the damage had been done. Populations had been reduced to such low levels that recovery would be slow and uncertain. Even today, more than 50 years after the ban, blue whales are still classified as endangered in most parts of the world. The current global population is estimated to be between 10,000 and 25,000 individuals, a fraction of what it once was. Some populations have shown encouraging signs of recovery. Blue whales off the coast of California, for example, have rebounded to near pre-whaling numbers, possibly because that population was never hunted as intensively as others. Other populations, however, remain critically low. Antarctic blue whales, the largest of all blue whale subspecies, were hunted almost to extinction and have been very slow to recover. Sightings remain rare, and scientists estimate that the population may number only a few hundred individuals, perhaps as few as 2,000 at most. The slow recovery is due in part to the blue whale's reproductive biology. As we discussed earlier, blue whales do not reproduce quickly. A female typically has one calf every 2 to 3 years, and not all calves survive to adulthood. This means that even under ideal conditions, blue whale populations grow slowly, adding only a few percentage points per year. But conditions are far from ideal. Even though commercial whaling has ended, blue whales still face numerous threats that hinder their recovery. One of the most significant threats is ship strikes. Blue whales often feed and migrate in areas that overlap with busy shipping lanes, particularly along the coasts of California, Sri Lanka, and the Mediterranean. When a whale surfaces in the path of a large cargo ship, traveling at high speed, the results can be fatal. The whale may be struck by the bow of the ship, or sliced by the propeller, suffering injuries that can kill it outright, or lead to a slow, painful death. Ship strikes are believed to kill dozens or possibly hundreds of blue whales every year worldwide, though the true number is difficult to estimate because many whales sink after being struck and are never found. Some conservation efforts have focused on rerouting shipping lanes away from known whale-feeding areas or requiring ships to slow down in certain zones, and these measures have shown some success. Another major threat is entanglement in fishing gear. Blue whales can become tangled in nets, ropes, and lines used in commercial fishing, particularly in gill nets and long lines. Once entangled, a whale may be unable to surface to breathe, or the gear may cut into its skin, causing infections and impairing its ability to swim and feed. Some whales carry fishing gear for months or years, slowly weakening until they die. Disentanglement teams have been established in some regions to rescue entangled whales, and these teams have saved many lives. But the work is dangerous and difficult, and not all entangled whales can be reached in time. Climate change poses an additional, more insidious threat. Blue whales depend on krill, and krill depend on specific ocean conditions, including water temperature, ice cover, and nutrient availability. As the climate warms and ocean conditions change, krill populations may shift in distribution, decline in abundance, or become less predictable. This could force blue whales to travel farther to find food, expend more energy during migration, or face periods of food scarcity that reduce reproductive success and survival rates. In the Antarctic, where the largest blue whales feed, changes in sea ice are already affecting krill populations. Krill rely on algae that grow on the underside of sea ice, and as ice cover decreases, krill may decline as well. The full impact of these changes is not yet clear, but it is a source of concern for scientists studying blue whale recovery. Ocean noise pollution is another growing problem. As mentioned earlier, human-generated noise from shipping naval sonar, seismic surveys, and other sources interferes with blue whale communication. The whale's long-distance calls, which once traveled hundreds of miles, may now be drowned out by engine noise in busy shipping lanes, making it harder for whales to find mates, coordinate movements, or locate food. Some scientists have called for regulations to reduce ocean noise, such as quieter ship designs, restrictions on the use of high-intensity sonar, and designated quiet zones where human activity is limited. These measures could help restore the acoustic environment that blue whales depend on, but they have been slow to implement. Despite these challenges, there is reason for hope. Blue whales are resilient, and given adequate protection and favorable conditions, they can recover. The success story of the California population shows that recovery is possible when whales are protected from hunting, when ship traffic is managed carefully, and when critical habitat is preserved. Conservation efforts are ongoing around the world. International agreements protect blue whales from commercial whaling. Marine protected areas have been established in some feeding and breeding grounds. Research continues to improve our understanding of blue whale biology, behavior, and needs. And public awareness of the plight of blue whales has grown, fostering a sense of responsibility and care for these magnificent animals. The blue whale is a symbol of both human impact and human potential. We nearly drove them to extinction, but we also chose to stop. We recognize the value of their existence not as a resource to be exploited, but as a wonder to be protected. And in that choice, there is hope, not just for blue whales, but for the oceans as a whole. As you rest tonight, think of the blue whales that remain swimming through seas that are quieter now, less crowded with their own kind than they were centuries ago. Think of the mothers and calves, the solitary wanderers, the singers in the deep. Think of how close we came to silencing them forever. And think of the possibility that one day, perhaps long after we are gone, the oceans may once again be filled with blue whale songs. that the numbers may grow, that the recovery, slow as it is, may continue, that what we almost destroyed may be restored, not completely, perhaps never completely, but enough to endure, enough to sing, enough to remind the ocean that the largest heart still beats, still calls, still hopes. Mysteries and future. For all that we have learned about blue whales, for all the decades of research, the thousands of hours spent at sea, the countless recordings and photographs and genetic samples, there is still so much we do not know. Blue whales remain in many ways mysterious, and perhaps that is as it should be, because some mysteries cannot be solved with technology or time. Some mysteries are part of what makes a creature wondrous. One of the greatest mysteries is the question we have touched on before: where do blue whales give birth? Despite intensive searching, no one has definitively identified a specific, consistent calving ground for blue whales. Newborn calves are almost never seen in the wild. In decades of whale research, there have been only a handful of confirmed sightings of very young blue whale calves, so young that the umbilical cord may still have been visible. This is baffling. Scientists know that blue whales must give birth somewhere. They know it happens in winter, in warm waters, likely in areas that are relatively shallow and protected. But where some researchers have speculated that blue whales give birth in remote offshore areas far from human activity, places that are difficult to access or survey. Others have suggested that the whales may use multiple scattered locations rather than congregating in a single calving ground. It is possible that blue whales are simply very secretive about giving birth, moving into isolated areas for just a few days or weeks before returning to more visible parts of the ocean. It is also possible that the locations they once used have changed due to environmental shifts, prey availability, or human disturbance. Whatever the reason, the mystery remains. And until it is solved, a fundamental part of the blue whale life cycle remains hidden from our understanding. Another mystery involves the deepest dives. While blue whales are not the deepest diving cetaceans, they are capable of reaching impressive depths. Most feeding dives occur at depths of 100 to 500 meters, where krill are most abundant. But there have been occasional records of blue whales diving much deeper, to 300 meters or more. Why do they dive so deep when their food is concentrated at shallower depths? Are they chasing deep-dwelling prey on rare occasions? Are they avoiding something at the surface? Or is there some other reason, some behavior or need that we have not yet recognized? The answers are not clear, and studying blue whale diving behavior in detail is challenging. Researchers use tags that attach to the whale's skin and record depth, speed, and other data, but these tags can only stay attached for a limited time before falling off. Underwater drones and cameras can provide visual data, but following a whale through a deep dive is difficult and often impossible. Then there is the mystery of the declining call frequencies. As mentioned earlier, blue whale vocalizations have been steadily dropping in pitch for decades, and no one knows why. The change is consistent across multiple populations in different oceans, which suggests a common cause, but none of the proposed explanations have been definitively proven. Is it an adaptation to a noisier ocean, an attempt to communicate more effectively amid the roar of ship engines? Is it a response to population recovery, allowing whales to use softer, lower calls because they are closer together? Or is it something else entirely, perhaps a shift in social behavior or reproductive strategy that we have not yet recognized? The mystery is deepened by the fact that the change is gradual and ongoing. It is not a sudden shift caused by a single event, but a slow, steady trend that has continued for more than 50 years. Understanding it may require decades more of research And by the time we have an answer, the calls may have shifted even further. There are also mysteries about blue whale social structure. We know that blue whales are mostly solitary, but we do not fully understand the nature of their social interactions when they do encounter one another. Do they recognize individuals? Do they have preferred companions or long-term associations? Do they communicate not just with sound, but with body language, posture, or chemical signals we have not yet detected? Some researchers have suggested that blue whales may have a more complex social life than we currently understand, one that is largely invisible because it takes place across vast distances and is mediated by sound rather than visual cues. A whale may be socially connected to others even when they are hundreds of miles apart, maintaining relationships through calls and responses that we can record but not fully interpret. Another area of mystery involves the blue whale's sensory world. We know that blue whales have excellent hearing, particularly for low-frequency sounds. But what about their other senses? How well can they see? Do they rely on vision for anything beyond close-range navigation? Can they taste or smell in any meaningful way? Or are those senses vestigial lost during their evolutionary transition from land to sea? Research on whale senses is difficult because we cannot easily ask a whale what it perceives. We can study the anatomy of their eyes and ears. We can observe their behavior, but translating that into an understanding of subjective experience is always speculative. And then there are the broader questions. How many blue whales existed before whaling? Different estimates range from 200,000 to 350,000 or more, but there is no way to know the true number. The historical record is incomplete, and the populations were never systematically counted before they were hunted. What is the carrying capacity of the ocean for blue whales? How many could the seas support if conditions were ideal and human impacts were minimized? Is it the same as pre-whaling numbers? Or has the ocean changed in ways that would support fewer whales? Or perhaps even more? How long will it take for blue whale populations to recover fully, if they ever do? Decades, centuries. And what does full recovery even mean for a species whose habitat and food sources are constantly changing due to climate and human activity? These are not just academic questions. They have real implications for conservation policy, for how we manage fisheries, shipping lanes, marine protected areas, and ocean noise. If we do not understand the blue whale's needs, we cannot adequately protect them. But beyond the practical concerns, there is something deeper. Blue whales invite wonder. They call us to look beyond ourselves, beyond our own short lives and immediate concerns, and consider something vast, ancient, and enduring. They remind us that the world is full of mysteries and that not everything needs to be known or controlled or understood. Sometimes it is enough to simply marvel, to stand on a boat or sit on a beach and watch a blue whale surface in the distance, to hear the deep whoosh of its exhale, to see the arc of its back, the flash of its flukes as it dives, to know that somewhere in the dark water below, something enormous and gentle is moving, breathing, living. As you drift towards sleep tonight, think of the mysteries that remain, the calving grounds we have not found, the dives we have not tracked, the songs whose meanings we have not deciphered, the individual whales whose lives we will never know. Think of the possibility that not everything will be solved, that some things will remain unknown even as our technology improves, even as our understanding deepens. That the blue whale, for all our efforts, will keep some of its secrets. And think of that as a gift, a reminder that the world is larger than our comprehension, that there are still places, still creatures, still moments that defy our attempts to measure and map and explain. That wonder, real wonder, requires not just knowledge, but humility. The willingness to say, I do not know, and perhaps I never will. And so we come to the end of our journey tonight, drifting slowly back from the deep blue toward the surface, toward the quiet warmth of rest. We have traveled far together, from ancient riverbanks where wolf-sized mammals waded in shallow water, to the vast cold oceans where their descendants, the blue whales, now roam. From the microscopic world of krill to the enormous heart that pumps blood through the largest body ever to exist. From songs that echo across 1,000 miles to the silent mysteries that still elude our understanding. You have learned that a blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant, that its heart is the size of a small car, that a newborn calf gains 200 pounds every single day by drinking milk richer and thicker than any cream you've ever tasted. You have learned that blue whales descended from creatures that walked on 4 legs, that they navigate by memory and magnetism, and sound that they sing in frequencies so low we cannot hear them without instruments designed to capture the voice of the deep. You have learned that we nearly destroyed them, that in just a few decades of relentless hunting, we reduced their numbers by more than 99%, bringing them to the very edge of extinction. And you have learned that we stopped, that we chose collectively to protect them, to give them space and time to recover. The blue whale is still here, still swimming, still singing, still the largest, still the most gentle, still a living testament to both the fragility and the resilience of life on Earth. But beyond the facts, beyond the numbers and measurements and scientific terms, there is something else. Something harder to put into words. A feeling. A sense of connection to something vast and ancient and profoundly other. When you think of a blue whale, you are not just thinking of an animal. You are thinking of the ocean itself, of deep time, of evolution's patient hand shaping bodies across millions of years. You are thinking of a world that exists mostly out of sight beneath the surface, where sunlight fades and sound becomes the primary sense. A world where the largest creatures move in slow, deliberate grace, unburdened by gravity, held in the embrace of water. You are thinking of mothers and calves swimming side by side of migrations, spanning thousands of miles of songs, traveling across ocean basins connecting whales, who may never see one another, but who share the same blue world, the same ancient rhythms. And in thinking of these things, you are reminded of how small we are, not in a diminishing way, but in a way that offers perspective, a way that allows you to step back from the urgency and noise of human life, and remember that the world does not revolve around us, that there are other lives, other stories, other ways of being. The blue whale does not worry about deadlines or schedules, or the 1,000 small anxieties that fill human days. It simply lives. It feeds when there is food. It migrates when the seasons turn. It breathes when it needs to breathe. It sings when it has something to say, or perhaps for no reason at all, simply because the urge to vocalize is part of what it means to be a whale. There is a kind of peace in that simplicity, a reminder that life at its core is not complicated. Eat, breathe, move, rest, connect, survive. And in surviving, pass something forward to the next generation. As you lie here now, your own breath slowing your thoughts, beginning to soften and blur at the edges, imagine yourself floating in dark, warm water. Not cold like the polar seas, but warm and gentle like the tropical breeding grounds where blue whale calves take their first breaths. Imagine the weightlessness, the feeling of being held, supported without effort, the quiet, the darkness, the slow rhythmic pulse of your heartbeat, steady and calm, like the heartbeat of a blue whale resting near the surface. Imagine a whale somewhere far away, perhaps off the coast of California, or deep in the Southern Ocean rising to breathe. Imagine the moment just before it surfaces, the upward glide through dark water, the faint brightening of light from above, the breaking of the surface, the whoosh of exhale, the deep inhale, and then the slow descent back into blue silence. Imagine that rhythm continuing hour after hour, day after day, year after year. A rhythm as old as whales themselves, as constant as the tides, as enduring as the ocean. And let that rhythm carry you. Let it lull you. Let the thought of something so large, so gentle, so far away become a kind of anchor for your own rest. Because in the presence of such enormity, such patience, such quiet persistence, our own small worries become smaller still. They do not disappear, but they soften. They drift. They lose their sharp edges. If you are still awake and you have found peace in this journey, consider liking this video, subscribing to the Sleepy Science channel, and turning on notifications so you can find your way back here whenever you need a place to rest. It helps others discover these stories too. One sleepy soul at a time. One quiet night at a time. But if you are already drifting, if your eyes are heavy and your thoughts are slow, then simply let go. There is nothing more you need to do. Nowhere you need to be. The blue whale is still out there swimming through the blue. The ocean is still turning with the earth. The stars are still shining whether you see them or not, and you here now are safe. You are resting. You are held in your own quiet space, much like a whale floating just beneath the surface, suspended between light and dark, between waking and sleep. Let the facts drift away. Let the images blur. Let the songs of the blue whale become a distant echo, a soft hum at the edge of hearing, fading into the background of your thoughts like a tide, pulling gently back from shore. There is nothing to chase, nothing to solve, nothing to hold onto, just the slow, steady rhythm of your breath, in and out, like a whale, like the ocean, like the turning of the world itself. And in that rhythm, in that quiet, in that soft and endless blue, let yourself finally, gently, beautifully fall into sleep. Good night.